everyone. Welcome to Eye Kansas City. Vote 2012 after the election program today here on Eye Kansas City. All right, we're going to get into the latest results from Kansas City, Missouri, from the election board here of Kansas City, and the Secretary of State office here from Missouri. We got those results from there, from Missouri. And we'll also go over the registered voters in Kansas City and in Jackson County. So keep it right here. We'll have all the answers you're looking for. And there's a long, and as well, sorry about that, and there's have the answers you're looking for in terms of everything after the election. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start with my commentary for the for starters here on this program today. A lot of people turned out to vote today. On November 6th. That is unbelievable. 76%, roughly around 70% here in Kansas City turned out to vote on November 6th, and we'll give you the total amount of people that came to register, because it's not a million, but it's a significant amount of people that did come to the polls and let their votes be counted and their voice be heard on November 6th, on that Tuesday. But as well, I have to address this, and that is there was a lot of problems when you went to the polls on Tuesday, and that was a big problem. That problem was when you took your ballots to be counted, the ballot was spit right back out. And this particular situation happened right here in Kansas City, Missouri, at several different polling stations. But those problems were addressed. I do believe so, because we wouldn't have these results here from the Kansas City Board of Election. So those problems were addressed. But across the nation, a lot of drive was going to suppressing the vote. And when you suppress the vote, a lot of things when you suppress the vote, a lot of people get angry and things get out of control. So we looked at this particular situation in Florida. We looked at voter suppression in Florida. We looked at it in several different states, but everyone's count was voted in Florida. That's why we waited so long, because Florida, they were still counting the ballots. They had a lot of trouble in Florida, which we won't be able to talk to because we are on a short time. But I'm going to move forward in telling you the turnout of the number of people that did turn out here in Jackson County, Missouri, which is 200,000. Let me start this over. 247,401 people casted their votes on November 6th. And in Kansas City, Missouri, the number is a little bit less at 222,763 people cast their votes on Tuesday as well. We'll get to some of the specifics in the election. I do have the I do have how Jackson County voted. I do have how Kansas City voted in the national elections, and we'll get to the state elections and everything, and of course the presidential, a little bit later in our broadcast today. Okay, welcome back everyone here on Eye to Eye after the election program, Vote 2012 coverage. All right, of course, Tuesday I voted. On my way to go vote, I saw a lot of other polling stations that were crowded, and I'm just going to go and send you to my report. We'll be right back on to discuss more and kind of get this show on the road. Hello everyone, welcome to Eye to Eye, Kansas City. I'm here at the Brush Creek Community Center. Um, we Today is Election Day, November the 6th. This is the major big election. The big dog has came in today, which means the big election, which comes down to deciding if Obama will be will be reelected for a second term, or if Mitt Romney gets elected from being a governor to being the next president of the United States of America. So that is something that we'll have the results on here on our After the Election program today. The reason why we're here because we wanted to see what the voter turnout was going to look like for all the areas. Now, this Tuesday morning, we saw a lot of folks lining up, getting ready to cast their votes and everything, and that's something that we wanted to do, to see everyone get out and vote. Actually, let their voices be heard, not silenced. What we've heard across the nation today is that a lot of folks. There's a lot of action taking place in terms of keeping people of color from the polls. Now, that is something that we don't want to hear. That is something that we cannot afford. Everyone deserves to let their voice be heard, and everyone deserves for their vote to be casted without any problems and or without any drama. So that's one thing that we saw around the nation in terms of people casting their votes today. But here in Kansas City, we've had a few glitches in terms of technology, in terms of submitting ballots into a machine. That's the report that we've heard earlier today, this Tuesday. But other than that, we've heard of my personal experience is that they asked for your voter ID card. They didn't ask, but they asked me for my ID as well. But here in Missouri, we don't have that voter ID law. So just bring your ID and or other proof of residency or what have you. You can bring your driver's license, your state-issued ID, and everything else should be fine. If you get my drift here. We was here on August the 7th because a lot of folks did not show up to vote on that particular primary election. And this decided a lot of things, including if the last time I can remember is a major thing in terms of about an issue about students could pray in school, but they're having trouble to how to put that law into effect. But speaking on the now terms, right now, people are coming in here at this particular location in small droves. I believe that they were here earlier today, earlier in the morning, Tuesday morning. Folks came in the lines and cast their votes, make their voices be heard, and get this little sticker that I got because I voted today, and I wanted to get my vote. I wanted to cast my vote, and let's make sure that we can go forward. If you get my drift and in my tie too, I'm in support of the president this Tuesday. We're going to go ahead and talk about the projected poll numbers. Now the poll numbers, well, the projected voter turnout rather, I'm sorry, jumping ahead of myself. The projected poll voter registration is at around roughly, the numbers that we've heard, around 70 or a little bit above 70% here in Missouri. In Kansas, we've heard numbers as of 68%-ish. We'll probably talk a little bit. We'll have the specifics on that on our later on in our show. So just stay tuned for that. We'll probably have that. But a lot of folks. We went to the Brookford branch earlier today, and we saw people coming in, and letting their voices be heard. And that is a trend that we've heard or saw all throughout our day today, and we hope that continue trends as time winds down and we get ready to hear who will be our next president. And but like I said, just to sum up what we've heard of today, a lot of some major to minor glitches with the election equipment to send in the votes from different precincts. We've heard that's what has happened. But a lot of people, the positive note though, a lot of people have came to let their votes be counted and their voices be heard, which is a good sign of things to come for those who want change to happen. You gotta vote. You gotta vote, gotta vote, gotta vote. That's my major thing. You got to vote. But like I said, just to reiterate, we came here in August, and just was no one didn't. I mean, there was a few people that showed up at the end of the day on August the 7th, but just came in slow numbers. But and maybe one could speculate the heat. But today's been a perfect day for anybody and everybody to come vote. We saw people taking rides to the polls, and that's only a good sign that people want to go vote and people are interested in this election. So we're going to turn things over to our studio here in Kansas City, Missouri, at the Penn Valley Community College, giving you the answers you're looking for here on Kansas City's east side. I'm Galvin Berkeley, eye to eye, Kansas City, Missouri. And as you saw in my report, a lot of people had to stand in line, had to make sure that a lot of things had to be handled carefully. And here in Kansas City, there's been a recent problem with Freedom Inc. And so, here in Kansas City, we had to handle those particular issues at a delicate matter in some of the polling places on November 6th. But let's kind of talk about, let's transition over to how Jackson County, Missouri voted on November 6th. We got the results back. These were faxed in to us, the day after the election, rather. So we got these after the election. We wanted to wait and see how Florida shaped up in the election, so that's why we took our time trying to make sure that we covered every single base in every state. But we're not going to go state by state. Since we're here in Kansas City, and since the show does have the Kansas City name title on it, we're just going to do what we can do. I'm going to start here in Kansas City, and we're going to look at the presidential elections. Barack Obama and Joe Biden took a 76% vote, took at 76.63%, and Romney took 21.82% of the vote, and all the others, well, they didn't get so much of a big vote, which was the Libertarian and constitutional candidates. And Claire McCaskill obviously had took Kansas City at 80.84% of the vote, and jumping ahead of myself, Todd Aiken at 15.44% of the vote. And in contrast, in Jackson County, of course, Missouri's a predominantly Republican state, but two major cities are only Democratic, and this is Kansas City in this case, and in St. Louis has the 80-something cast the Democratic votes, and in Missouri. That's the only two places you will only see the Democrats turn out in good numbers. But in Jackson County, of course, Mitt Romney took this county, and of course took this state with 43.9% of the vote, and with Barack Obama 44.3%. And these all results are 100% reporting. All the precincts have been reported and recorded. Of course, I do have the official results here, and we want to invite you. We won't be able to go through all of these today. We have a short time here on this program today. So we want to invite you to go log on to sos.mo.gov. Again, that is sos.mo.gov, and we'll have all these results also on galvanbkc.weebly.com for your viewing pleasure. And of course, you can also log on to see how Kansas City fared up on kceb.org. Again, that is kceb.org. And continuing on, before we continue on, we have some of the results are at the bottom of your screen, but they are not all the results. These are just the Senate seats here in Kansas City Senate, and state representative seats at the bottom of your screen. So take a look at those, as they will be scrolling at the bottom of your screen momentarily if they're not already on there. Okay, going to U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill, as we said, took 80% of the vote. Claire McCaskill took 54.7% of the vote. Todd Aiken took 39.2% of the vote. So he lost this race here in Missouri. These results, to kind of back up, these are not Jackson County results. These are just Missouri in total. All the counties have been counted, and all 3,000 some odd precincts have been reported and have been accounted for. So these are all Missouris on how these are just the statewide races in terms of the major issues, and we're going to talk about the issues coming up here in just a minute, so stay tuned for that. All right, Jay Nixon, moving forward. Jay Nixon took the vote at 54.7%. 54.7%, and Dave Spence took at 42.6% of the vote here in Missouri. Jay Nixon will be back in the governor's chair with, of course, with 54.7 and 42.6 for David Spence. Susan Montee took the vote. I do believe, took the vote at 45.4%. Republican Peter Kinder, sorry about that error. The Republican Peter Kinder took the vote for Lieutenant Governor at 49.4% of the vote. And we do have that. Susan Montee took 45.4% of the vote. Secretary of State, Jason Kinder, who is the Democrat, took the lead at 48.8% of the vote here in Missouri. In Kansas City, Jason Kinder took 78.58% for the Secretary of State. State Treasurer, if I don't mess up his last name, Clint Zeifel. Hopefully I didn't butcher your last name, Clint. If I did, I'm going to apologize. 50.3%, and Cole McNary took 45.5% of the vote for State Treasurer. Now, moving forward with moving forward back to Kansas City, Zeifel took 77.8%, and Republican McNary took almost 20% of the vote. All right, moving forward, I have to kind of get caught up here. In Kansas City as well, I'm sorry about that, my microphone's kind of slipping. in Kansas City for Attorney General, Chris Costner took 80% of the vote, and Ed Martin, took 16.66 of the vote here in Kansas City. But in Missouri in total, Ed Martin did not win with 47.7% of the vote. Chris Costner took 55.8% of the vote. We're not going over the U.S. representative seats except for Emanuel Cleaver. We have to bypass this because of time constraints. So Emanuel Cleaver got back his seat with 60.2% of the vote. And Jacob Turk, who is the Republican that ran in the District 5 U.S. representative race, 37.2% of the vote was reported. We're going to skip ahead and go to the issues that were on the November 6th ballot, and we're going to tell you a little bit about them because I know some voters were kind of troubled when they went to the polls and they didn't know what some of these were. So we're going to review with it, even though it is kind of too late to kind of tell you now. Constitutional Amendment 3 goes over the age, and this is only here in Kansas City, goes over the age of municipal court judges, I do believe. Proposition A goes over, kind of talks about the control of the police department, transferring the control over to the city. Now, this particular move did not happen here in Kansas City, Missouri, but I've heard there's some talk about even including Kansas City in this, so that took a good vote, which we'll get into the specifics here in just a minute. Proposition B was taxes on tobacco and cigarettes here in Missouri, which people did turn that down, and I have my commentary and everything on that here in just a bit. Proposition E, which is the health care Obamacare, how to enforce Obamacare in Missouri, and surprisingly, Missouri voted it in, which we'll get to the specifics on that now. Going back to Proposition B, back up a little bit, people saw, this is what I think, people saw the constraints on the casino taxes that was voted in a while back, and people saw that particular plan with the casinos and the lottery, the money was not going to the schools. Now, with this particular Proposition B, the money from all tobacco and cigarette sales would be going back to schools. But people did see that the casino plan just didn't work, and people need their cigarettes in a way. So, but let's get back to the results here for Constitutional Amendment 3. The results for that is at 24% yes. Hopefully I did not get these mixed up. 24% yes. And we'll go over to Kansas City in just a minute after we do Missouri's total vote. Proposition A is at 63.9% of a yes vote. Proposition B took a 50.8% vote. Proposition E took 61.8% of the vote. And let's see what else here. That was it for Missouri. Let me catch up to that. Hey, where's the... Okay, proposition... I'm hoping this is A and B, because it does not show up here. We're going to do E since I'm seeing E first. Proposition E took 48.1% of the vote. For Proposition B, we're assuming that this was a yes vote. No, this is Proposition B here. It took a... what's wrong with our system here? Proposition B took a 62%, 62, roughly near 63% of a yes vote. And the yes vote for Proposition A was at 67.71. Hopefully we'll check on this and we'll bring you the latest on that on our next edition here on Eye to Eye Kansas City. Kansas City, welcome back here on Eye to Eye Kansas City. Going through to see a lot of, to sum up what the results were that we went over before our commercial break. Most of the Democrats took home their seats, but there was a few that didn't get their seats, get home back their seats. The popular vote did we go over that? No, we didn't. Okay, the electoral votes for President Barack Obama was at 332 at last count. For Mitt Romney's electoral votes was at 206 and only 270 to win, so Obama took all the votes. Now, the Democrats took over the Senate seat, and I forgot the number of that, but I do know that I think I do have it back here. I don't think I do. No, we don't. I didn't prepare that today. So we'll go over those on the next edition of Eye to Eye Kansas City. In depth, we'll go check into what Kansas City voted. Brandon Ellington, of course, we already knew he's back in. Dunn took it home for the state rep seat for the 22nd district. We got a little bit more time left, as I'm seeing here. We got a little bit more time to kind of discuss a few things. I want to just say a lot of people turned out to make a difference. But we need to turn out on a lot of issues that are going on in our city. A lot of issues, especially our schools here in Missouri, here in Kansas City, Missouri. We are having some difficulty in that. We're having some difficulty turning up, everybody turning up to bring some action into our neighborhoods. That has got to change as well. That has definitely got to change. And that is something that I've talked about on this program numerous of times, and I mean to say that, and I make a point to saying that again. To kind of reiterate with you back on these results, the popular vote for Obama is at 50.6%. For Romney, the popular vote is at 47.8%. And a lot of people, I'm just gonna tell the truth. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I never have. And if you've been watching this program, I don't tend to sugarcoat things, and I'm not going to start now. A lot of people were mad on November 6th that Obama won for a second term. And I got 2 words for you. Well, 3 words for you. Get over it. This man won fair and square. There was a report that was released today that Mitt Romney, and if we got this right, Mitt Romney says that Obama has given big gifts to a lot of his voters, and those big gifts are in terms of health care reform for young voters, more money to college and things of that nature. And I think what Romney needs to do is just let it go. If he's listening, let it go, Romney. Let it go. It is what it is here. Kind of going back into Kansas City a little bit. We'll kind of want to reiterate with you. Constitutional Amendment 3. That vote was a no vote at 74.67% of that vote was a no vote. And I thought it's kind of some kind of we had some kind of technical glitch. It must be because some of our numbers have been kind of sharply messed up here. But we will bring these numbers back into play on our next edition of Eye to Eye Kansas City. But kind of wrap up here at Penn Valley Community College. It is our last day here at Penn Valley. We got a new studio, and we will be in it on the next edition. I'm so happy. We're so thrilled. It's a new state-of-the-art high-definition studio where we can project more clarity, project more information to you all at once in better high definition, in a better high definition environment. I could say this to kind of sum up what has took place on November the 6th, on that Tuesday. A lot of people voted. A lot of effort was going into suppressing the vote. The Republicans couldn't take that vote, couldn't take that right and try to buy this election. I'm so happy and I'm so thrilled. And I think, as I said at the beginning of the show, I kind of forgot because we had to go through these results. The power of prayer did work at the beginning when the returns came in, the returns that we just went through. But on the national level, the returns didn't look so good on Obama's side. And of course, those who didn't know, as I said in my report, the returns for Obama just was kind of low at the beginning of November 6th. But towards the end of the night, prayers were looking up for Obama, and a lot of prayers were said. And I was one of them that said my prayers, and will continue to say it. I will continue to say my prayers as he goes through a second term, because they're going to give him hell. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for watching our program. And of course, I'm going to reiterate with you, we didn't go through all these results, but you can take a look on the Secretary of State's website, which is sos.mo.gov. And for Kansas City, just log on to kceb.org to find the total election results here in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm Galvin Berkeley, giving you the answers you're looking for here at Penn Valley. That wraps up our show for today. We'll see you next time, everyone. Goodbye.
Party hop, mistletoe